Okay, we're going to go for Everton at home to Manchester City. It's a Tuesday evening fixture in the Premier League. Talk about Everton to begin with. Last two games they've drawn 1-1, which kind of sums up how their season's been going really. So they've not been conceding loads of goals, they're just not scoring enough. And in some games they might expect to win, they're just getting points. And that's why they're down in 14th, which is pretty lowly for a team like Everton. Transfer window wise, they've brought in a couple of players, but then they're looking to raise some funds. I think Billy Ekdorf could be on his way for around 7 or 8 million, so that will help. Where are Everton at the moment?
Well, I mean, I think their league position is fairly indicative of where they're at. I mean, their dealings so far in the transfer market has been restricted. They've had one hand tied behind their back, obviously with the likes of Darren Gibson and Landon Donovan coming in for a combined fee of about 1.5 million. And obviously the sale of Billy Ekdorf would really free up, and maybe they could do something with that. But
it's very late in the transfer window, isn't it?
That's the thing. I mean, they've only got just under a week, or just around a week, to sort of act. And if you could say like a week to save the season, but you don't want to sort of leave all that to January transfer window. There's something intrinsic in their squad they need to look at.
Just very quickly on David Moyes, because obviously I think Everton aren't going to go down this year, are they? So by the time the summer comes around, they probably would have finished between 8th and 14th, you would guess. Has he got it in him mental to really just rebuild again without the funds? Because it's obviously he wants to do really well, and he's not under pressure, but it's a difficult one.
Well, it is. I mean, if there's one thing you will say about David Moyes is that he's always come across as a passionate man. You can always tell he's up for the fight. But he's highlighted it before. It's not the fact that he's struggling at Everton, it's the fact that Everton have stayed perfectly still, and teams like Spurs have gone on, Aston Villa have spent lots of money, and teams like that, which they were competing with 3-4 years ago, they now sort of, there's a big gap between them, and he just hasn't had the financial clout to match them. And so it's whether he can sort of bring himself to realise, or not realise, but to sort of accept that he won't have the same money to spend as his rivals.
It'll be interesting. It's a difficult one on Tuesday. You've also got Manchester City. Manchester City disappointed in the Carling Cup. They lost in the semi-final to Liverpool. Kind of any silver they want, because when they won the FA Cup last year, they kind of said this is the first of many trophies. And obviously the Carling Cup is probably the next trophy they would like to win. So they're disappointed, but it is all about the Premier League. And they'll want the points in this one to kind of push on at the top of that.
Yeah, I mean, in recent weeks in the Premier League, they've passed what most people would consider their biggest trials. I mean, they beat Liverpool in the league, narrow win, but they did well there, and they beat Spurs. Now, those are two big tests in the league, and they passed them. Now, in the cup competition, obviously Manchester United in the FA Cup, and now Liverpool in the Carling Cup, they've made, well, that could be signed that they're focusing on the league only.
Yeah,
if you see what I'm getting at. So, and obviously this, it would sort of say it was a big test for them, but it's the one they've got to go there, be professional, pick up the points and start to accumulate and show the nous towards the second half of the season.
So have to do so about Balotelli, who's suspended, so that'd be a bit of a miss.
Yes, rightly suspended.
Okay, so we'll go for prediction. Everton at home to Manchester City. I think this is going to be a draw. I think City will slip up and drop some points. I think they've not entirely been convincing overall of late, so I'm going for a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I think City, I think they've done well in the league. They've been efficient in the league. I don't think Everton have got it just to muster up enough of a challenge, so I'm going to go for a 2-0 Manchester City win.